Hello and welcome back to Mission Boards. Appreciate you watching the channel. Today I'm going to show you how we go about making the metal blades for our pizza pills. So we make two different sizes of metal pizza pills. This one is about 9 inches wide and this one is 16 inches wide. And the handles are the same for both, but we make the different size blades. And I'm going to show you that process today. We're getting kind of low on inventory on the larger ones, so I'm going to make a couple of those today and show you that process. First thing that we do really is to always use our template. So I have this template that I've made out of melamine coated particle board. And I learned a long time ago to write in big bold letters that it's a template so I don't accidentally cut it up someday. I've done that in the past. I spend a lot of time making templates, and if you don't mark them up and you're looking for a scrap piece someday, you might actually cut your template up and ruin it. So I have this template. It's properly labeled so I don't accidentally cut it up. And I'm just going to set it on this piece of aluminum. So we use 14 gauge, I believe, aluminum. And I source it at a metal superstore in the Pittsburgh area. I've gotten it at different places. In the past, I bought some off Amazon, and I don't know what was wrong with it, but the Amazon purchased product was so brittle that when we tried to form this bend that you see in it, it actually cracked. And so I don't know, it just seemed to be over hardened. I'm not a metallurgist, but it didn't work well for us, and I won't buy it from them again. So we source it in the Pittsburgh area from metal supermarkets. And I buy it in a size that I can either make two little ones going in this direction, or I can get one big one. I just have to cut a little bit off the edge here. So I'm gonna mark it out. So that should be all we need of the template. And you can see I have the basic shape marked on there. And the next step will be to go over to the bandsaw and actually, with a metal blade, cut this shape out of the aluminum sheet on the bandsaw. So I'm going to use this old bandsaw, and I'm kind of fond of the old thing. It's an old Delta Homecraft. And I don't know how old it is, but I suspect it's at least 50 or more years old. It actually was my grandfather's, and that's why I have some kind of an emotional connection to it. But it's just a little 10-inch bandsaw, I believe, and it's been in the family for a long time. And I put a metal cutting blade in it, and I use it to cut the aluminum, which is pretty soft. And I built an auxiliary table on here that's a little bigger and helps keep it flat. So I go ahead and cut this, cut the shape, and you'll be able to see that. So if you've been able to see that, I'm having a lot of trouble cutting through it, and I suspect that my blade is getting pretty dull. It's always cut really well in the past. We've cut a lot of these, but right now it's really struggling to go through there and to make it around the curves. So I'm gonna go ahead, I think, and change out the blade. So after I got it all apart, I eventually discovered that the problem really isn't the blade's dull. It doesn't feel that dull. There was actually a shred of aluminum that had gotten jammed down in alongside the blade. So as the blade was trying to cut, there was a little wedge-shaped piece that's putting pressure on the blade and dragging down the power of the saw. So I'm going to put it all back together. I think it'll work a lot better now with that piece out, and we'll see what happens. There we have the rough blank cut out, and I think the saw ran a lot better once I got that shard that was lodged in by the blade out of there. So I'll show you what we do next. We're going to go over to the sander and kind of clean up these edges. So I'll show you what we do next. We're going to go to the sander, just kind of clean up the rough edges. And that belt sander does a pretty decent job of smoothing up the edges. The only place I can't get to with it is this inside curve. So we'll use the other belt sander, the rigid, and try to get that cleaned up a little bit. And then the next step for us would be to just take a hand sander and sand this edge. I'm just trying to roll over the edge a little bit so that there's nothing on it that could be sharp and cut somebody. And I usually just do it on the table here. And then what I always do is just take a minute to feel it. And if it needs it, we'll sand it some more. You could get a metal file and file at it. All those things are helpful. But we just want to make sure that nobody can get cut on this. I think that looks pretty good. It's not sharp at all. Edges are nicely rounded over. All right, so we have our blank. It's been cut to size. And really the next step in the process is to bend the L-shaped, put the L-shaped bend in it that will accept the handle. And what we have is a jig. One of the mission board guys made this jig out of a piece of aluminum. It enables us to always bend it at the same spot every time. So we just simply lay this on the jig, push it in tight against the brake, make sure it's in there. Straight, lock it down. And then we're going to go ahead and put the first bend in it. So now we have an L-shaped bend, and we're going to put the second bend in simply by putting it back into the brake. Locking it down, just bending it up, one more 90-degree bend. So we have some stops built into all this. Again, the machinist in our group has been great. He added our stops and helped us come up with this system that makes it easy, and it makes the bends predictable at 90 degrees. So you can see what we've ended up with at this point. And the only thing that needs to happen now is to add the handle onto the end. So the last thing we need to do is to just put the handle on. And what I'm going to do next is to just try and center it. I have some marks on here where I want to drill, usually in the center of a particular species. And I just want to make sure that the handle is centered as best we can on the metal blade. And I found using these clamps to help a lot hold it in place. So that looks pretty good. Just going to go ahead and drill. And then I'm using a number 8 by 3/4 stainless steel wood screw. I've used different sizes. I used some heavier ones because I thought that might be better, but I did have a little bit of trouble with it splitting out the wood. So at this point we're using the 8s. And since I started using them, I haven't had any problems with the wood splitting. Just try to make sure they're flush. And so there you have it. That's how we would attach the handle. It's on there really well. It's not going to come off. And that's how we assemble our metal pizza peels. So if you found this information at all interesting, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We'll keep making more videos about how we do things here at Mission Boards. Thanks a lot for watching.